Back to throw Flacco. Plenty of time. Flacco rolling to his right, being chased by Ndamukong Suh. Slides down into the first down, and he is hammered by Alonso. Flags everywhere. Now there's a fight on the field. He slid down, and Alonso popped him, and Flacco's helmet came off.
All right, Flacco's out with a concussion, and the question is, was that a dirty hit? Should he have been thrown out of the game? Freddie Coleman joins us, as always, on the Friday show with ESPN, and we always love Freddie's insight, and he joins us on Big Board Sports 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio. Good morning, Freddie Coleman.
Good morning, Roger. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great, man. Absolutely great. Another big weekend coming up. College tomorrow, and then we'll get to the NFL on Sunday, which started last night. What did you make of the hit by Alonso on Flacco?
Well, it wasn't a dirty hit, and I'm sure a lot of people will see the end result and seeing the bleeding ear of Joe Flacco and the helmet coming off and saying it was a dirty hit. What was Kiko Alonso supposed to do in that situation? Because Joe Flacco was trying to get a first down. Kiko Alonso's job is to prevent him from getting the first down. When Joe Flacco goes into a slide, I think it's pretty hard to tell a player that's 6'2", 250 pounds, coming downhill 150 miles an hour, you know what? Pull a cartoon move or hit the B button on the video joystick, stop in midair and let the guy slide, and everything's going to be okay. It is the National Football League, and those hits are going to happen. Now, I'll be honest. I'm surprised he wasn't ejected for that, because I've seen in situations where that player gets tossed. But you don't have to like the rule, but the rule was executed properly, and I felt the discipline, the 15-yard penalty, was justified against Kiko Alonso of the Dolphins.
And as for the game, I mean, I wasn't sure which way that was going to go going in, because the Ravens haven't had a great season either. Miami with the change in quarterback with Cutler being out, but boy, what a blowout that was last night.
Yeah, we had a knockout of Joe Flacco. We had a choke out with Ndamukong Suh on Ryan Mallett. We also had a cat being out down the sideline, which is probably the best offensive play for the Miami Dolphins in the fourth quarter. Roger, I'm with you. I thought this game would be a little closer because the Ravens had struggled offensively. But I can't remember a team in recent memory, 4-3, having a winning record in the NFL, that you look at them and you say, boy, this team is no better than the Cleveland Browns and no better than the San Francisco 49ers. The Dolphins have been able to be a beneficial team in terms of having the Falcons lay down in the second half and the Jets letting a 14-point lead get away against them in the first half. But this is a bad team with a good record at 4-3, and now they have the Oakland Raiders that they play after that. Then they got the Carolina Panthers they play after that. This could go downhill very quickly if the Miami Dolphins are not careful.
Freddie, speaking of the Raiders, I have them going to Buffalo and winning on Sunday.
Man, I'm going to trust the Bills on this one because I've gone back and forth in that game. I just love the way the Bills are playing, is that they know that no one cares about them and not giving them their props, and they just go out there and play quality football, winning football, which they've done pretty much this season. The defense has been a little better getting after the quarterback. Tyrod Taylor has not been careless with the football or careless with his reads that we've seen in previous years. LaShawn McCoy is running the ball effectively with this football team, and plus you have a team going west to east. I'm going to incline myself to align myself with the team, especially when I think that team in the East is better than that team coming from the West.
Freddie, we've seen maybe some improvements here by this Patriots defense, although I don't know what to make of the Falcons after Sunday night's performance. New England gets the L.A. Chargers at home this week. Do you feel like New England is maybe hitting a turning point either by their play or their schedule where they can just take control of this AFC East, although it sounds like you like Buffalo Sunday?
Well, here's the deal with the Patriots, and you're exactly right. We don't know what to make of the Atlanta Falcons because right now the Atlanta Falcons don't know what to make of the Atlanta Falcons, especially offensively. But the one thing the Patriots have always been good at is not so much how they get sacks, it's when they get those sacks. And that pass rush was non-existent until this past Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, you can say the Falcons' play calling helped them, but this was the first time all season long we saw a Patriots pass rush get to the quarterback and get the quarterback out of his hands and make him uncomfortable. Too many guys were comfortable behind their offensive lines playing that Patriots defense. But now they're going against a Los Angeles Chargers team that they've won 3 in a row. They're running the ball better. Their defense is playing better. This is not a game that you can look at and say, okay, the Chargers playing the Patriots, this will be an easy win, and the Patriots are finding their stride. We could say the same thing about the San Diego Chargers, who started the season horribly, and now they seem to find their groove. They've been able to find their rhythm. So this game is going to be tough for the Patriots to deal with because the Chargers are better. And we still don't know what we're going to get from the Patriots in terms of, are we going to see a better defense, or are they going to revert back to the defense we saw before we saw them against the Atlanta Falcons last Sunday night?
And speaking of the Falcons, Freddie, when are we going to see this, this Falcons team that we saw last year? They still have, really good players that just kind of need a wake-up call here. Does it come against the Jets on Sunday at 1 o'clock?
Well, it may come against the Jets, but Roger, you and I both know this, and for everybody out there, if you don't have an identity and the players know that, that's going to be a problem. Last year, we knew what the identity of the Atlanta Falcons was going to be. Hey, we're going to hit you in the mouth with quick striking, passing down the field, but we're going to run the football and really wear you down and generate big plays in the running game. We have not seen that. And I think at times with Steve Sarkisian as a new offensive coordinator replacing Kyle Shanahan, I think he's outsmarting himself trying to get Matt Ryan going or getting Julio Jones going. Kyle Shanahan was so good at letting those guys do their thing, but everybody else is going to have some kind of value in that offense. We're not seeing that from the Atlanta Falcons because they lack the identity that we saw last year. So until Steve Sarkisian figures that out, we're going to see spurts where the Falcons look really good on offense and then they struggle and slow down. And the Jets' defense is not a good defense, but they're better than anybody could have even thought of anticipated. They're not going to make it easy on the Falcons, especially if the Atlanta Falcons offensively, with their lack of identity, will not make it easy on themselves.
ESPN's Freddie Coleman with us here on Big Board Sports 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio, and Freddie joins us every Friday at 10:30. Freddie, I'll do Roger the favor of asking the Penn State question of the week. 6.5-point dogs, man, the number 2 team in the country, probably the Heisman Trophy winner in Saquon Barkley, and they're 6.5-point dogs going to Ohio State. What do you make of this game?
Well, 2 reasons. Number one, they're going on the road, and Penn State traditionally has not had a lot of success at Ohio State. I think that's why we're seeing that high number. And number 2, people still remember last year what happened. Ohio State lost to Penn State, and that revenge factor could be there with what many people believe is an Ohio State team that may be finding their stride when it comes to their quarterback, J.T. Barrett, and also their wide receiver core. I will say this about Penn State, and I know that's a big number. I think Penn State's going to cover that number, and here's why. Defensively, they're a lot better than people want to give them credit for. Jason Cabinda is an All-American linebacker in the middle that can make plays and get downhill on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And we know about offensively what Penn State can do. They're not going to be overwhelmed or overawed by the moment going into Ohio Stadium, playing that Ohio State team with revenge on their mind. Penn State has enough young guys that have veteran experience about them, whether it's McSorley, a quarterback. You mentioned Saquon Barkley. Also Gesicki, who may be the best tight end in the country. They're not going to go into Ohio State and be overwhelmed by the pomp and circumstance. They believe they're good enough to go on the road and win this game. I think Ohio State will get them, but I think Penn State is going to make that score closer than the 6.5-point spread going into it.
But you are picking the Buckeyes, Freddie?
I don't want to because I'm a Penn State fan like you are, Roger, and I love what James Franklin has done with that program. But if they're able, Ohio State's defense is going to make it tough on Penn State. This will be the best defense that Penn State has played all year, which is saying something when they played Michigan last week and they destroyed them. But playing at home and going on the road and having all that stuff, I think Ohio State will find a way to win at the end of the game. I want to be wrong because I think Penn State represents the best chance for the Big Ten to get into the playoff and win it. But going on the road, that's going to be a tough deal because Ohio State is a lot better than they were earlier in the year.
Well, we'll be DVRing the game for sure. My son has a
is that the plan? You're going to DVR, avoid the score. Wow.
Yeah, that's the plan right now. You've talked me. And I'm not a big DVR guy, but I think I'm going to do it this weekend. I really want to watch Penn State. So if I can not find out the score between the end of my son's game and
leave
getting
the phone
home,
in the car.
And I might be able to. But hey, listen, as a Penn State guy, I am concerned, Freddie, about this one. I think Ohio State will play a big game. Tough place to play. Going to be like the environment that Michigan had to deal with last week at Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Roger, because the environment, and one thing about Penn State and Ohio State, I love the fact that these two teams are developing a genuine dislike for each other. Those things usually happen when programs are good, because before Ohio State looked at Penn State, that was just a game on the schedule. Now Ohio State has known what Penn State's been able to do turning that corner under James Franklin, and they're not just going to go back behind the wall anytime soon because he's got it going on. So you have two teams chirping at each other a little bit. That tension convention is going to be there at the beginning of the game. It's going to be a fun atmosphere at Ohio State when these two teams get together on Saturday.
Freddie, always a pleasure, man. You are the best. We appreciate what you do for us every Friday here on Big Board Sports, and have a great weekend.
You too, my friend, and good luck to your son in his game on Saturday.